I'm Ed.
I'm Noah.
And this is Ed and Noah in the blank.
The blank, the hole that we fill with our words. So today, we're being sponsored by Monster Energy.
As always.
Monster Energy, if you drink more than 3 a day, you'll lose a kidney.
Your kidneys will be destroyed.
Or will it be liver?
Whose kidney? Well, it's kind of both.
Yeah, anyways, so today we're really having a special episode, nothing like we've been doing. We're going to talk about, Red's going to talk about Diablo 2, because
Diablo 3's coming out, so we're going to talk about Diablo 2.
Because we're going to play Diablo 2. So I'm going to ask him some questions, because I've actually never played Diablo 2 outside of Act 1. Yeah, I figured out that's how far I got. So, first off, I don't really know much about the story, but I just assumed it was about killing Diablo.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You kill pretty much his generals, and then you go to Diablo, and then you have to kill Baal, which I think they added him in the, or Baal, however you pronounce it. I think they added him in the expansion pack.
Lord
I'm not sure.
Destruction.
Yeah.
Such a gay bastard.
Which actually, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what, because Baal is the Lord of Destruction. So yeah, they added him in the expansion pack. But
pretty much straightforward story.
yeah, it's do this, kill these people, go.
The other thing I really want to get into is the gameplay, because I've never actually played. I just know it's a point and click game.
It's basically, like you said, it's a point and click game. You point and you click where you want to move.
On the map, on the top right corner, or can you pick on the screen?
Anywhere on the screen.
I didn't even know that.
And you right click to do a spell. And when you're attacking, if you hold a certain key, it's either Control or Shift, you can have a secondary attack, like any type of spell. Like if you're a barbarian, you have Whirlwind. Then when they attack, he does like spins around in circles or some shit. I can't remember.
Spins around in vomits.
Then he shits upon it. Yeah, and then like chatting is with the keyboard. Regular chatting. Spells are like 1 through 10 or 12, I think.
Which you can actually assign through.
Yeah, and you can assign the way you want them.
So definitely not a WSAD game.
No.
Yeah, I've heard that's a bad idea. That's why I had the PlayStation 1 version of Diablo. It's pretty rough.
It was.
But alright, now that we've covered the basics, the big thing on him is jobs, because I'm trying to decide what I want to be. So, what's an Amazon dude?
Well, basically, first off, they're not jobs; they're character classes. Like that's how it's class. That's how you pronounce.
Yeah, you build
how
on
you build them.
Skill points.
You have your Amazons, which they're part of the vanilla game. I guess is how you would say it. They do ranged attacks like javelins, spears, bows and crossbows, and I think with either the spear or the javelin, they can do regular attacks with them. They don't throw them, but they throw pretty much all of those, and they have buffs for their different, like they have spear and javelin buffs and crossbow and bow buffs, which is like you can shoot like 16 arrows at a time to it when you have a certain skill maxed out.
So improbable.
True, but
yeah.
the speed you can do it is improbable too. Crossbows for sure.
Alright, let's go to the second job. The job I'm disappointed mostly, because I've heard it's just complete trash, and that is the assassin.
Yeah, the assassins were one of the 2 classes introduced into the expansion pack, Lord of Destruction. They rely on martial arts and traps, and they have all these fancy names for their special attacks, like Fist of the Dragon or something like that. And
anything about flamingos in there?
No, there's no Fisted Flamingo in there.
Oh.
And they rely on traps and darkness and deception, which is basic assassin stuff. But like in the history, there's like a series of books based off the Diablo 2 lore that I really wanted to read, but there's like 50 books, so I'm never gonna ever do that. But it talks about how the assassins were set up to keep the sorceresses, the magi in check. Like if they ever went too powerful, they would come in and like, hey, you're doing this, well, they'll kill them. And that's what their stuff is for. They really only have like certain buffs for themselves. Like I think if it's a dark, you get a attack bonus or something. I never really like did an actual assassin. Like I tried it for a while and I didn't like it.
Yeah, there aren't enough traps in this game. Seems kind of flawed to begin with. So.
Yeah, I mean, you could lay a trap in front of a group of people that are coming at you, and they'll still hit it. It's not like if they see you lay it, it's useless. But
yeah, that's a lot of work.
yeah, it's kind of it. I don't know. That's like the bottom of the classes. I would think would be the very last thing I would pick.
Well, since we covered the crappiest one, let's cover one of the best ones. And I know this has to be one of the top 3 because it's Barbarian.
Yeah, the Barbarian is by far one of the best classes in the game, in my opinion anyway, because they can dual wield one-handed weapons or they can do two-handed weapons. They have like a bunch of buffs for themselves, like, and they have shouts which can buff your party as well. They have a jump attack. Like if you max it out, you can jump pretty far, which is really good for, you know, raiding through a cave. Like if you're trying to go for the Immortal King set, which is the Barbarian set, it's the best gear, like armor and weapon in the game, and it's like a
axe,
a hammer.
A hammer.
It's a badass hammer. But yeah, the IK set, I know there's other sets names, I just can't think of them, but the IK set's the one that I always got whenever I would do a Barbarian class. It they have like whirlwind sprint, which is they spin around in circles and they like throw their weapons around like this, and it does a lot of high damage if you stick in one spot. Just whirlwind into a group of people. Frenzy, it boosts their attack and they just like will just charge, attack and attack and attack. Basically they're damage dealers. They're the ones you want to throw into a group of people while you're like buffing them.
So hammer is probably the best weapon considered at the end of the game.
Yeah, if you're going for the Immortal King set, but there's still you can do better with like with regular, like the special, like the rarer weapons are still good. Like you can, it's not like if you don't have this you suck.
Yeah, I get that. I'm talking in terms of like what would end up actually.
Yeah, the sets are gonna always be the better weapon and armors to get.
You know, going into the one that we're studying in the classes I'm actually considering playing, I actually think Druid looks interesting. I just don't understand. You know, this looks like there's a lot it can do, and I don't understand what path you end up wanting to take.
Okay, well, the Druid is the second class added to the expansion pack. They rely mostly on magic, but they carry weapons. Like they'll carry a club. There's clubs as well. That's what I was trying to remember. They'll carry, you know, a club or a hammer and a shield. Not a hammer and a shield, but like a sword and a shield. But mostly they rely on magic. They can summon familiars, which they summon crows, wolves, bears, swarms, like bugs, and like these worm things that travel underground. And I think there's one more thing, but I just can't put my finger on what it is. They can transform into a werewolf or a werebear, and not like Twilight. These are actually badass.
Yeah, I remember actually the transformation is one of the few things I remember.
It's actually like Skyrim werewolf.
This kind of sounds like, you know, the jack of all trades. You know, they do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, they even have elemental attacks like Armageddon is the best elemental attack, I think. It brings comets down from the sky and that do fire and impact damage. Like it will hit randomly and it doesn't affect your party, but it does area effect.
You know, a question I have about Druid, because I don't know what the max level in Diablo 2 is.
99 or 100.
Okay, well, you know, clearly you're going to want to build your character a certain way. It seems like there's a lot of different ways a Druid could go. What's technically the preferred way to make a Druid, or do you know?
Mostly, a lot of the times, I see they'll pick a transformation. They'll be, I want to do werewolf or I want to do a werebear, and they'll either pick wolves to go with them or bears. Like they'll either pick the opposite. Either way, a lot of times they just pick, like if they were a werewolf, they'll pick wolves. They're a werebear, they'll pick bears.
Yeah.
And then they'll pick one of the trees from the elemental attacks. Like it's fire and air, which it's like cyclones and cold cyclones or something. But they'll either pick the fire or the air, and they'll put, you know, their perk, pretty much going Skyrim language, perk into those, and the werewolves get special powers like Maul. Both of them have Maul. Bloodlust, I think, is one, and it helps to be a werewolf or a werebear longer.
I guess what I was getting at was you don't have to give up transforming to do elemental attacks. You actually get both of those.
Yeah,
paths.
you get all three. Like you can have
It's
all
just
the paths if you work it right, but
you wouldn't be like an expert in any of them.
yeah, and I think you can pick both, like werewolf and werebear, but it's not really worth it.
Okay. That's a job I'm considering. A job that I want to do, but I think I would end up liking it is necromancer, because to me it basically looks like a summoner. Like it summons things and runs away. Summons things and runs away.
They carry wands and shields, but their shields are like shrunken heads, and they rely on cursing and poisoning through spells, and so they're magic people. And if you kill someone, you can reanimate it. Like if you were to kill a I'm trying to think what like the level 1.
Can you reanimate more than one thing?
Yeah, the more skill points you put into it, I think you can reanimate like 8. I'm not sure.
You can create like an army.
Yeah, and then you can summon golems, which I think you can only summon 1 at a time, if not 2. But there's like a fire golem, an iron golem, rock golem. Like there's different elements, but it's still just golems and like other types of reanimation techniques. But mostly, they rely on their curses and poisons.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been much of the whole summon and run away, summon and run away.
Yeah.
The next one I'm not interested in only is paladin, because it just seems like a meat shield to me.
Yeah, the paladin. They do shield and sword, which it can be like a club or a one-handed hammer. I think there's one-handed hammers, but mostly they carry big ass shields, like kite shields, huge kite shields.
Tower shields too.
That too. They have both offensive and defensive buffs. Offensive and defensive buffs, and it works for the character and the party. So you can buff offensive and defensive for your parties to make them stronger, and you can also go out there, but you're typically going to be stronger, or almost as strong, if not strong, or weaker than the person next to you, because they're set for whatever they're doing. Like a barbarian's always going to be stronger than the paladin. It just depends on how they have their sets, but the paladin's kind of like the middleman. You can have one in your party, but it's not going to kill you if you don't.
So you would almost argue it's kind of like an assassin in a way, it's just...
Kind of, but I would definitely put the paladin to the higher of the ranks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Alright, the last one, this is the one I'm pretty sure I'm going to pick, though. I hate playing female characters so much. I like being my own race. I mean my own sex.
You're a sexist bastard.
Yes, I'm a sexist.
But they're so hot. You can just stare at that tight, supple ass the entire time.
Is the sorceress, because to me it just looks like, other than teleporting, it gets that cold fire, lightning, elemental spells.
Right. Sorceress, they're magic. They control the elements.
I swear there's only 3 elements in this game.
Well, it's just the trees that they're set into. Like lightning or teleport is set to the lightning tree, and you can do all 3 trees. It doesn't matter. Like you can be a cold and fire witch, or a cold and lightning, fire, lightning, or all 3, or just 1. But typically they do lightning and fire, and like someone will put in a couple of skill points into certain cold traits, like the lightning mostly because there's chain lightning, like Star Wars.
Oh.
Like you can, if the group is close enough, you can fry a whole group and pretty much kill them while someone else is coming from behind and snatching whatever's left. And they have healing powers too. I think it's in the cold tree. I'm not sure.
Can a sorceress, do damage on par with a barbarian, or is it like...
Yeah, when you have high enough, when you have your trees in, like, there's not, like, one that's, like, useless, but in ranking, I would, just in my opinion, because I've played all of these, I would put Amazons and barbarians in the same group because they're basically Amazons are basically the female range version of a barbarian. Then I would put what did I say? The sorceress next.
Yeah.
The sorceress, then druid and paladin together, then necromancer, and then assassins. But I mean, they all have. There's also passive traits that I didn't go into because there's just too many of them.
Well, I definitely realize we focus more on the jobs than any other part here, but I feel like that's the most important part.
That's really,
that's your character.
You can ignore basically the other stuff. Like, yeah, we could have gone into stuff like the Herodric Cube, but that's part of the story.
I actually remember that.
Yeah. That's part of the story, and that can go into spoilers. But
yeah. But now if you ever want to play through Diablo 2, like we are, you can use this as a reference, or go to the wiki and read it and probably get the same effect. But we're definitely gonna be doing recordings of Diablo 1 and 2.
Yeah,
so
we're gonna record a playthrough of 1 and 2, and we'll probably have a Diablo 3 special a little while after it releases.
Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna be recording Diablo 3 like crazy.
Yeah, we'll get that.
That'll be some of those. Like I'll probably make several characters too, so I'll probably have some on my channel and your channel.
Yeah, I'll have 1 or 2 characters.
There's
not 1 or 2 characters.
A lot of the
one
classes
each.
on there interest me, like the.
I really like the idea of the monk and the demon hunter.
Yeah, the monk is about 100 fists. Anyways, we're getting way off topic here. This has been our Diablo 2 discussion, and I'm Ed.
I'm Ed.
I'm Noah.
Zed Noah in the freaking blank.
Ed and Noah in the blank. They are in the blank.
That was perfect, dude.